Hello, everyone. It's Ten Types, as always, joined by Uncommon Fossil on the Reasonably Effective podcast.
Yep, hello, and pleased to be talking about Pokemon TCG, and we're talking live today. And this is, I guess, since the announcement that live was going to happen, this is the most positive thing that's happened since then. I think, right? This announcement we got this past week.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to be taking a look at the letter to the community, which was written or sent out on March 20th, which I think we've each talked about on our channel separately. Um,
Yeah.
and so you see that like it's a letter about some different things, but mostly about this thing called trainer trials, which we'll get into. Do you want to start with the other stuff though?
Yeah, I mean, just very briefly, because this coming week, this new stuff's coming with the trainer trials. Uh, uh, Battle Partners, right, is dropping. We're
Uh,
getting
Journey Together. Battle
Journey
Partners, I
to
think, is the Japanese expansion.
okay, so Journey Together, yeah, correct. We're getting rotation happens, and we're getting new sets. We're getting Hop, Zashi, and EX and we're getting what Enzor. So those are the Battle Pass decks, which is good. I think those are decks we want to be getting. And then a couple of things in the announcement, just real briefly. Besides the trainer trials, we're getting a third daily quest. That's good. So we'll get more rewards. They're increasing the trainer points, which is used to be crystals, from 45 to 100, and they're doing updates. So that's kind of that's the other news, I would say, in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I do actually want to quickly talk about the extra challenge because there was the EV thing, right? Um,
Yes. Yep.
which was kind of annoying because it took up one of your challenges, and a challenge that was really hard to do. It's kind of fun to have events like this, and I think they kind of said that they were doing more. Um, and so I think if you have one challenge taken up by that and then two separate challenges, I think that flow will be much better, and I think the extra challenge is kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to be more have more interesting things, which is a big part of what these trainer challenge trials, which is really awesome and unexpected. But yeah, like
That
the
sounded
daily
super
quest.
sarcastic.
So I sorry, I kind of lost my thought in there, but no, it is really great actually. Shocks and just that just came out of nowhere, I will say to
Mhm.
me. But before we get there, yeah, no, the third one, yeah, because the challenge you basically have to play like an evolution deck, and I don't want to play it all the time right now. So I kind of honestly, I've played live a lot less because of the evolution challenges. I got to say, so if you have two regular challenges and one special one that you can do if you want, but don't have to always do, that's good. To be sarcastic though, the other thing, which is the big thing here, they've visually updated the tiers within the ranked ladder, and they're changing the Pokemon. Right, it says any Snom fans out there, let's go, and they've renamed the ranked ladder leagues. So they're doing the big stuff as well.
Yep. And so we got that stuff, but then we have the trainer trials, which by the way, there's a bunch of these, and you were like kind of you lost your train of thought potentially because they're like all named. There's a bunch of them, and they're all named like differently, but kind of similarly. Honestly, this whole thing's a little confusing to read. So I actually want to ask you this before the podcast, and we didn't answer it. It says so the first trainer trial begins the 25th. That's
Yeah.
the day the game's updated, right?
Yeah, that's on the Tuesday when it's updated. The new set and rotation happens on Thursday.
And then you will so it says that I'm just going to read this out. It says, as a reminder, standard rotation TCG Live hits on Thursday, March 27th, which you just said. So decks made for trainer trials on March 26th or 27th may not be legal, as trials will often use the standard card pool by default. Does that mean that, like, if you have a deck that's pre-rotation, then you won't be able to play it post-rotation because the format is within standard, or is that not what it means?
Well, I mean, the first one, Singleton showdown, it says the card pool standard. So
Yeah.
obviously the standard card pool changes on Thursday.
Mhm.
So assuming we can play this on Tuesday and Wednesday, then I guess we can play the older cards, the pre-rotation standard cards, and then I'm guessing it just means we can't play that same deck without until we modify it post rotation. But the way it's worded is super awkward. So that's what I think. That's what would make sense to me. But I could be completely wrong about that.
Yeah, if you could actually, if you're watching the video, if you could comment that down below, that would actually be really useful. For us and other people. And we both agreed, so it's not me just like being illiterate, but or maybe we both are. But yeah, anyway, so
Yeah, hang on a second. Just so these trainer trials. Before we get into specifics, there's 5 different ones they've listed out, which are different formats. So these are all new formats. But the trainer trials are going to be in the casual mode only, not ranked. And it's going to have either 2 weeks or 1 week of each of these trials, which is a format. It's focused on deck building, right? New ways that you're going to have to build a deck. And you're not going to be able to do friends matches within these, I don't believe, right? If I assume that's the case, which case there won't be tournaments, which means deck lists you're going to have to come up on your own, or kind of content creators will be having
yeah,
stuff too. But
yeah,
you're not going to have
like us.
right. But you can't go to Limitless to get deck lists,
Yeah.
right? Which is important as well.
Yeah. I'm just looking through, and so some of these are like kind of, as we'll talk about, they're like formats that people play, that people actually play, either some
Mhm.
or a decent amount, but some of them are like kind of tweaked a little as well.
Yeah,
And also,
let me just revise because I realized I misspoke some. You could do a limitless tournament as long as the card pool is standard, right?
oh yeah,
As long as a truncated standard, you can always do a limitless tournament. If it's like a expanded card pool, then right now that you can't do a tournament on
yeah.
it. But
But
sorry.
I think there is some, like, the way they talk about the black and white cards is kind of weird here. As we'll talk about with a couple of things. I just want to, we're getting kind of sidetracked. I mean, we're going to talk about this, but the one format is
Yeah,
GLC, and it says the card pool is, so most of them say, so 2 of them say standard, one of them says
right.
Scarlet and Violet, but that's also standard, so that's kind of weird. And do you know why that is, actually?
No, that one is odd. Because and it's not like it straddles rotation. So once rotation hits standard format is Scarlet and Violet only. The reason my guess is that maybe they're going to have some of the card pools that are going to be like Sword and Shield only, or it's like that. That's my thought. But I again just trying to make sense of what they did, because like you said that they named everything differently too. Like one's a showdown, one's a battle, one's a challenge, one's a series, one is a cup, right? I don't know that those terms actually mean anything. They seem to just, somebody really loved the thesaurus to put this together, I think.
Yeah. Oh, and then the whole things in general are trials. But so the last one actually is called the CU Cup, which you, before the podcast we were talking about this a little, and you said it sounded competitive, kind of. And then you were like, they're 1 or 2 weeks. And I was like, well, it says they're all. Oh yeah, so everyone except for week 9 is 2 weeks. The last
Right.
one's only 1 week. That could be because it's trying to be something more serious. I don't know. There's not really any reason why that would be based on what we look at, aside from the naming. But anyway, that one is, the card pool is expanded, versus Gym Leader Challenge, the card pool is black and white series onwards. So technically expanded has, like, there's some bans, and those aren't the same as Gym Leader Challenge. This matters a tiny bit, and so that's probably why they're wording it that way. But we're gonna talk. I don't think you can play, like, I mean, right now you can't play black and white cards. So why would, if, and it seems like you might not be able to. However, it does say that it's black and white onward. Why wouldn't they just say sun and moon onward if that's what they're gonna do? So that's something I was a little confused about.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to kind of start? Do you want to talk about those issues in Gym Leader Challenge then to start off? We
Oh,
kind
I
of
have one last thing
or
that's kind of weird. So, I was
okay.
looking at this visually, right? So if you can't, if you're not watching it, Uncommon Fossil, actually, can you describe what it looks like here?
Oh, I don't know what I'm
The
supposed to be.
image. There's like the image on the page. There's one image. Oh, the top. It's the
Oh,
top image. There's two.
so under so it shows rank under casual. It shows standard, expanded, beta. So expanded is still in beta, and then it shows trainer trials as like third different format in casual. Is that what you mean?
Partially, and they look a little different, right? The symbols are different. And I was like, whoa, they're mixing it up. But no, it's still hexagons. They're just stretched hexagons. I was like, wow, they're being so innovative, but no, they're not. Anyway, that doesn't really matter, but I thought that was funny. They're sticking to their theme of that. But yeah, in the expanded, again, it does say still in beta. Um, and also there are like arrows from side to side to so it shows three, as you said. There could
Yeah.
be an extra. I don't think so. Um, it seems kind of weird to have like arrows. Um, but that is a possibility of there being extra formats, maybe in the future as well. And maybe some of these formats do end up sticking around, though that does not seem to be the case right now.
Right. Would they have a full time one? I like the idea of this, I gotta say, in deck building. I think and part of why they did it this way, where they have if they added 5 formats at once, well, first off, everyone played GLC for the most part, and the other ones wouldn't see many people. But also, if you have multiple too many formats, you're not going to get enough player participation, right? So I think the reason why it's rotating with a bunch of things gives variety, which is get part of a part of what's nice about Magic the Gathering Arena, which is very monetized, but it's got a lot of formats, which is awesome. But if you added that many formats into live, you're going to be sitting around in queues, I think, too much or matching up against the same people. So making it so you have to wait. Sometimes if you GLC is what you want, you have to wait till that rotates around. I think that's okay, but it gets people that want to play alternate formats a chance to do things as well as trying out things that they might not otherwise. I think it's a good move all in all.
Yeah, and the formats also are, I believe, pretty cheap for the most part, which is cool. But and then also adding on to that, this is not ranked. Some people like kind of I don't know if they like really complained about it, but I think I heard a few people saying like, oh, this should be in ranked, maybe as well. But then if they add it in too many times, then again you're gonna have the queuing issue. It's the same format but in like different queues. But yeah, let's talk about um, do we want to go from the top or do we want to jump around here?
Um, well, you started talking about. Do we want to talk about the card pools and expanded, and talk about GLC and the one expanded tournament first, or,
Yeah, yeah,
or no?
let's do that.
So, Gym Leader Challenge, which you've done a lot more than I have, is from the card pool is full of expanded format, which is also black and white onward, black and white XY. What was it? Sun and Moon, Scarlet
Yep.
Violet.
Oh, Sword and
I,
Shield.
I, I
Yeah.
missed something. Sword and Shield. Yeah. In that, but so rather than calling it expanded, they call it black and white series on, which is correct. But obviously, you can't play black and white or X white cards in the game in the expanded beta format. So if they called it expanded, which they did for the other format for the CU Cup expanded, they called it expanded format. I think that's very logical, calling it
Hmm.
saying expanded for the card pool. Once they say black and white onward, I would expect. It seems to me, and I should be able to play black and white cards in it, right? But
Hmm.
then you get to the ban list because they list the ban cards, GLC format. Oh, why don't you give the quick overview of GLC because you,
Yeah.
you know it better than I do.
GLC, and if you don't know, I actually like, started my channel is GLC focused, not just GLC, but mostly GLC. And so I kind of enjoy the format. I have a history with it, and I enjoy it. There are cool things about it, and it's a format that's like casual and fan made by YouTuber Tricky Jim, which is where I got its name. But anyways, it's Gym Leader as well, so it's one type of Pokemon. It's one of each card, so Singleton. Which we'll actually talk about, and then also um, it's uh, it's a format where you cannot use Rulebox Pokemon or Acepex or other Rulebox cards like Prism Star Stadiums, and then there is a short ban list. I will actually mention another thing that's kind of weird. They were saying, oh, there's a wide range of formats, all from Singleton to GLC, but like GLC is also Singleton, so that was kind of weird. I feel like they could have given like different examples, but anyways, yeah, GLC has and also does like the longest set of stuff here. It has the ban list, which makes it longer, but outside of that, I think it's still the longest. Having
Yeah.
more rules because I guess it's like more fleshed out. Some of these formats have been played. I have not played any of the others. I don't think. I think I played Singleton Standard once or twice on the ladder. I don't think that went well. But yeah, it's definitely it's like a format that people play. It's not like an official format or anything. Some people mention that it is like in a rule booklet. I mean, there were lots of formats in that like rule booklet thing. That I don't know what they are. I kind of know them. They're kind of bad to be honest. Some are funny, but yeah, no GLCs though. It's one that's played. And yeah. Oh, and black and
Yeah.
white on.
No.
Sorry, yeah, that's important, but we said that.
Right, Black and White on, it started by Andrew Mahone, and I guess he's the rules that person. He's set up the rules. I think I don't know who all he listens
Oh,
to in it.
yeah. And then the rules, so I was a little confused. Some of the things they said were a little weird to me, like the use of the term rule box in this way. It's usually rule box Pokemon specifically. Um, this is it's not copied exactly from the Gym Leader Challenge website, but it seems because there's an official Gym Leader Challenge website, or yeah, I guess official. And so it's taken almost directly from there, except for the ban list.
Okay, because I wasn't sure. I'm guess well, obviously by rule box, then that would include Apex cards, although they
No,
list
I
that.
actually A-specs don't have a rule box. Like
Oh,
I don't
really?
know A-spec. Like so, if you have a card like Black Market Prism Star, which is a
Yeah.
trainer, but it has the Prism Star rule on it, and then you have like computers or no actually no I haven't I'll look at computer search. I know it's true for Prime Catcher, yeah, and it says on the right. It doesn't actually say a spec rule. It just says a spec. So the actual word rule isn't used. Um, which is generally what's used for this like definition, I guess. But the rule box terminology is like more fleshed out with newer things, and it's generally referring to Pokemon. It's kind of weird, and it's not generally. It's not really used in this context that much. But yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, I think people will understand what it is. So whether as far as look, it'll get sorted out, and I'm sure they may have to clarify the rules for this. I don't know at some point. Um, there is the ban list, which, as far as I understand, the cards that are banned are all what Sun and Moon on. They don't have Black and White or XY cards. There are Black and White XY cards that are banned in GLC, but none of those are listed in the card bans, right? So that would seem to imply that Black and White and XY are not going to be playable, right? I assume allowing the banned cards in would not be healthy for the game.
yeah. I mean, I don't think it's like if they wanted to, if they could like had no ban list or just use expanded ban list, I think that would have been fine. It's not like the format completely breaks down or anything, but it still is, like they that's not what they're not trying to like change, like tweak the format in ways to make it better because they just copied the other ban list. So if they wanted to do that, I imagine they would have changed something else. It would be like super an absurd coincidence if that was the case. So yeah, they're just yeah.
All right. As we're talking here, I understand now why they didn't say it's expanded format, because expanded format would then include the expanded bands, and those bands are
Yeah.
different than the GLC bands, right? So I guess that's why they call it Black and White onwards. They probably at this point shouldn't say Black and White onwards. So they probably should
Yeah,
say
I feel like it
Sun
should
and
be
Moon
Sun and Moon
onwards.
onwards. And like people say, like Joomla Challenge has expanding card pool. That's something that like people say pretty commonly. Most people like you would know what you mean. When people are like, oh, expanded, they're not like, oh yeah, then the ban list is this. That's they're like, it's like, oh, it's black and white on. So,
Yeah.
anyways, it's a little weird though. Like and also Joomla Challenge. I'll talk about some of the specifics because this is this and the CU. I mean, those are the expanded formats. This and the CU Cup. They're both going to be hurt by losing these cards. And GLC will. It's not like the format. Um, you can play a lot of GLC decks. I was actually looking recently, and a lot of them you can play. But there are some cards, for example, Octillery, which is really important. I mean, there's like there's some draw Pokemon that are really important and support Pokemon. The attackers I don't think matter very much. Um, there are probably a few lost. That are meaningful, but power creep, right? So those aren't as good. But the engine Pokemon can be really good and really important to some types, so that'll change things up some and will be a little annoying. And then there are some trainers that are good. There's only like there's shockingly few of these compared to what I was thinking. I was like, oh, this is gonna like completely change things a lot, and it changes things just some.
Yeah. I mean, I think. Yeah, I mean, look, people that are GLC fans are certainly going to be annoyed because you can't play the card that you want to play or the deck that you want to play. But I think there's enough cards that this will work. I assume since they're saying it's Black and White onward, they're still planning on implementing full expanded format in live, right? I think that's what that means. That's still somewhere in their minds that that's going to happen, right? And we're going to get that eventually. I don't know when, but I assume that's the promise. In a sense, it's the promise that that's coming someday down the road.
Hmm. And if you're a GLC fan, I would not recommend complaining about this. If you complain about it, it might not come back. So do keep that in mind. Realistically, that probably isn't like. Well, yeah, if people are like, oh, we don't like this format, then they're like, okay, well, we'll try something else. And I'm sure like there are other formats they can do. They asked for
Yeah.
suggestions. I plugged random battles there. So,
Yeah, no, that's important. They're going to. It's not set that this is what the format is going to be permanently all the time. I assume most of these will come back regularly, but they ask for suggestions, which is fine. And that's good. And I assume they're going to pay attention to what the comments are, what formats people like, as well as how much people play things, right? Like if twin battles after the first 2 days, no one plays it for the rest of the 2 weeks, they're less likely to bring it back. Either they'll change it or drop it, replace it with something else, I'm guessing.
hopefully.
Um, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, obviously, look, I mean, one of the questions, hopefully they can implement this, right? This is really good that they're doing this. I'm certain a little nervous. I imagine you are as well. Can they actually pull this off? So we'll find out, right? Just implementing card sets tend to be problematic, and now they're doing this as well as a new set of cards. So and rotation. So this is the biggest job they've ever had in terms of updating live at one shot. So I'm a little nervous there. And also, look, so this is 9 weeks, and it won't always be 9 weeks as well, right? Because
Oh, yeah.
that's when the next set I don't know, the next full set comes out or mini set, whatever the next set that comes to live, and they reset the battle pass and such, which varies. So how many? It won't always be 5. I'm assuming it may or not even always be 2 or 1 week. We'll see about that.
Oh, yeah. And then there's what format should we talk about next?
Well, why don't we'll save the one that's coming up first for the last? I'm thinking if that's or does that not make sense to you?
Um, I don't know. We could. No, actually, I think we should just go jump to that one. I think it's
Okay.
fine. GLC is obviously a fan favorite, but I think the other
Yeah.
ones are all interesting. I think we should talk about Singleton before I talk about Twin Battle. So, um,
Yeah. Yeah, no, the Singleton sets things up, right? Because Singleton is standard card pool. Like I said, there's that weird thing about rotation, what they say. I'm assuming it says basically the new series or new trial starts on Thursday every week, but the first one, Singleton, says that it starts on Tuesday. So we may get 2 extra days of Singleton Showdown before rotation. So, which means you can play a card like Radiant Greninja or something, which is good in a lot of decks. If that's the case. So time will tell about that. So we'll give that a try. So it's standard card pool, and then it's one copy of each card except for basic energies, which means so that you can play Rulebox Pokemon. I imagine like basic EXs potentially are a good way to go if one can do it. You can play Ace Specs in it as well, I assume. So that's a big difference between something like GLC is the Rulebox Pokemon and Ace Specs and such.
hmm And yeah, that's a pretty big difference. And then difference from standard, I think, is the way engines are going to work and trainers as well. So GLC has you're kind of comparing this. GLC has a larger card pool, except it's one of each
Right.
card. So in some ways, it's almost similar to standard in that way. In like power level of trainers, um, it kind of feels similar. And then you have like a similar amount of engine Pokemon. They are kind of like one-ofs, but they're like good generally. I mean, I guess it does depend on what type you're playing, but you do have like a stable engine often. Um, this won't be the case in this format though. I don't. You mentioned like Dodrio before the podcast. You mentioned Blood and Rush Luna EX as well. I will say Blood and Rush Luna EX is probably also like that's pretty good. Like really good. It's a colorless basic Pokemon that goes in any deck and is really strong. And
Right.
then like stage one engines or just like good engines are really important. I don't know what those are really. Like the barrel's good, Curly is good, Lipar is good. They're rotating,
Right.
right? Um,
Yes. And Radiant Greninja, like I said, would
uh,
be that's the basic engine, right? That would be that would just go in every deck as well. I would imagine. Yeah, so that's why Dodrio, which isn't a sort of an engine, it draws one card, which isn't as good an engine as some, but it also is a nice attacker. So if you know it, it does was it 30 per damage counter on it? And you draw a card each turn, and you can put a damage counter on it. So
Yeah, yeah.
it,
It does 10 plus
you know,
30, but yeah. I think. But yeah, so it's that's like fine. I think to me, there's something that actually I was just thinking. So, Dodrio's like solid. I think Dracloak's a little better, and then people are playing. Will probably play Dracloak and then Dragapult. Dragapult is a card that's good. Obviously, it's kind of awkward to set up, but it's not that bad to set up. In how we like actually look at it, right? So if we look at Dragapult decks, you can see it mixed and matched. I think these are the kinds of decks you want to look at. Dragapult could be you can play it like you see a Dustor line. You can see Pidgeot EX. Pidgeot EX probably also good. And then you'll also
yeah.
see I'm actually gonna pull up like post rotation. You could see Goldengo. Oh, look, I saw Ethan's. That's not what you'll be playing. You can play it with the Goldengo EX, which is I think Goldengo EX is pretty nice deckable. It's a decent draw Pokemon, not amazing, but it's okay. And it has a decent attack that's usable with a lot of different things. And overall, I think you want to be building a deck maybe with Pokemon like this. But I think Dracloak and Dragapult, specifically Dracloak's really solid. And at that point, you should probably just play Dragapult EX. And so actually, like looking at the cards, I think a lot of like stage ones are going to be nice. Maybe even stage twos. And stage twos, I've been playing some Feraligatr recently. Feraligatr is really weird, but I play it with one TM Evolution, one Grand Tree. I think it plays one Ultra Ball and one Rare Candy. So a lot of the trainer cards to get you set up are just one ofs, but they have redundancy with other cards. That's what you're looking for. And so you want cards that, multiple cards to cover the same role. I think the supporters are going to be the roughest thing. I want to give a quick shout out to the supporter cards. Oh, I think they're Brock. I don't know what they're actually called. I think it's Brock's Training and Iris Fighting Spirit or something. It would be Brock's Scouting. These are translations, but the cards from Journey Together, which are solid supporters, not amazing, but you might be checking them into your deck. Stuff like Hassle. These like tier 2
Right.
supporters are probably things you're going to have to throw in your deck. You want supporters. They will make your deck more consistent. Yeah, supporters lead to more consistency than items generally.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of working on a list, like if just to get some ideas together. It's tricky. I also think the Dunsparce for an engine card, right? And it's a pivot as well as the basic. You can use the Dunsparce that's got free retreat, and that's a nice one because it sits in play and it gets you 3 cards, goes back in the deck. So I think that could go in a deck as a 1/1 line. I'm also thinking the Ditto, the Transformer Start, maybe goes in decks just because if you want, it gives you a little more agency over getting one of the Pokemon you want starting the game more consistently. So
I guess, but part of that its value also is being searchable. It is like searchable off of like Fan Rotom, which I guess is okay
yeah.
here. But it's also searchable off of Buddy Buddy Poffin, but then you can probably just get the Pokemon you want. Maybe not. I feel like it'll be harder to get though, much harder than in standard. Not that it's bad. I don't know. I don't think the card's super good, but it's kind of interesting. Definitely consideration.
I mean, you could be right. Switching cards are a tricky thing, right? Because you probably want some switching cards, but how much, do you do?
Yeah,
I know you want some. Look, I like Jet Energy. You've kind of been down on that in general.
I think that card's bad.
But, maybe in a deck like this, especially if you have, if it helps pay the attack cost of what you need and gives you some switching, might do that. We're losing double turbo energy, so that would obviously be good for some of these decks. Obviously losing the Vs, we lose if you could build one for now, I might put in a 1/1 Arceus line just because the V-Star power is so good, right? Even if I don't want any other Vs in, right? But just you get Arceus V-Star set up, you're good for the game, or some other basic V and Forest Seal Stone, right?
Yeah, like Rotom V and Lumineon V, Forest Seal Stone, something simple like that. Oh, Pheasantip GX, we didn't say that one.
Yeah.
That should be in every deck. But yeah, Rotom V, Lumineon V, Forest Seal Stone, really solid, just adding the consistency a bunch.
Right, Pheasantipity, Mew EX, maybe, right, gives free retreat, and you can draw cards if you can make it work. So, yeah, some right. The trainers are what's tricky. That you don't have a lot of cards to get Pokemon in play. We lose Sweet Heavy Ball, so what's prized basically you're not going to have access to, so that hurts. I imagine I'm playing Great Ball in my decks. I like Great Ball anyway too much. I know I like it too much because I know it's not that good. But I only have what, like 4 or 5 Pokemon search items
Yeah, we're
in the
losing
game.
like Capsule Aroma too, and probably some others that are like fine. So
So because you're going to play Buddy Buddy Poffin, you're going to play Nest Ball, you're going to play Great Ball. I've got Loose Capturing Aroma. What else do I have here? I have Ultra Ball. But since it's Singleton, I don't know. Discarding's not doesn't make me feel good. But like what? So I have like 5 Pokemon Search cards, and there's like Pokemon Search supporters, right? But they're like search for 2 evolution Pokemon type supporters. I forget what those are, but
yeah,
but they don't feel good to play usually. But maybe we have to do them in these decks. I'm not completely certain. And then should I go with Secret Box for my ace spec, right? Because what do you do for that, right?
yeah, I
Secret
go with
Box
that.
does.
I'd probably go with Prime Catcher. I mean, it's such a creative option. But like you can only play one boss, and like one counter catcher and one Pokemon catcher. And those aren't even like always great options, right? Counter catcher and Pokemon catcher, especially Pokemon catcher,
Right.
in my opinion. And so I'd probably just stick with Prime Catcher, and it is a switch, and that seems good. Or with Unfair Stamp, or you could do Secret Box. I think Stadium, like you're losing Pokestop, you're losing Force Seal Stone. So I think you're losing a lot of value off of the tool in the Stadium. Um, I guess Secret Box decks probably usually don't play Force Seal Stone, but actually I don't know. I don't play that much Secret Box. It can be played in like Gardevoir and stuff.
I mean, Secret Box gets you set up, right? So that's why if you get it early on, you could be good to go, right? Like part of it's setting up. Supporters, like I'm probably gonna slap a youngster in a lot of decks, I would imagine, right? That's like a tier 2 supporter, but shuffle your hand, draw 5. It's not bad, in
I'll
something like this.
mention Rhyme as well. Draw 3, force your opponents active to the bench. Not bad. I think it's underrated. I've never seen anyone play this supporter. I don't think it's like all right. It's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun part, right? You get to play these cards that aren't great, like you said, Hassle, which can be good.
Hustle's pretty
Obviously,
solid.
it is. Now it works in single prize decks mainly, is what I'll say. And these aren't necessarily single prize decks. So, but yeah, getting Pokemon in play, or do you use the ace spec that you fill up your bench with basics,
Oh yeah, Precious
right?
Trolley. That could be good. I don't like that one, but it's decent. I will say I don't know how the games are gonna play. I don't know if they're gonna be super fun or it might just be like standard, but like your decks don't set up all the time. So it might just be whoever sets up wins. I hope that's not what it is,
Yeah,
but it could be if it's like, oh, I have like a Charizard DX, or I drew my Charizard DX and now I win, or I didn't and I lose or something like that. Um,
right.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
I think it'll be like interesting if people figure it out a little more, and I think by like week 2, when it's figured out a little more, it'll be cool. I think the first week, like the first few days, it's gonna be a big mess, but hopefully a big mess because people are messing around with stuff, not because live like stopped. Um, yeah.
right. Hopefully, so like because I was putting together my pre-rotation fire deck. Because I love fire decks. I do think Charizard EX is good, also, just in
Oh
general,
yeah.
honestly,
I don't
because
think that's a hot take.
well, and it's good in these, right? It's stage 2. Yes, you can play Wind Rare Candy. There's a good chance you don't get it, but first the HP. Once you set up, you probably win the game, and it accelerates the energy, right? Because also you got to get the energies, and we don't have like you play your Earthen Vessel. I probably am playing like an energy search in these decks. I'm thinking
I
as
guess yeah, it
well.
depends what you're playing, but that could be. I mean, you probably like
You,
play. I feel like if you're playing like something with like say Dragon Ball and Goldengo, then like you'd want Earthen Vessel, and you could play Crispin, um,
yeah.
and like energy retrieval cards kind of act like that as well. But yeah, I mean maybe an energy search.
For some decks you're going to need it, right? Like if I'm playing a fire deck, and I like it because I can play NTV, I can play the Forest Seal Stone before rotation. I have Magma Base, and it's nice stuff. But if I do a fire deck, this is then I start to play Kindler, probably in Mila. At least one of those, right, goes in the deck. Which right
Yeah, well,
now
Melo's pretty good.
it's not that good though,
It's
right?
decent. It's not
It's
great,
better
but
than
it's
Kindler.
yeah. Well, I think Kindler's kind of bad.
Yeah, you might like if you're playing a fire deck, you're probably definitely playing Mila, right? Because you accelerate an energy and draw to 6 in hand. And even Kindler, you got to think about, right? So that's the fun thing about this type of thing is you get to consider these cards that otherwise just don't see play, right? So, discard energy. Killer's not bad. You have to get it in hand too. But so do you think for attackers? So you're thinking these evolutions are okay, like Dragapult? Is that correct, or do you think you need to go with big basics for
I
this?
think I think evolutions are okay. I think people should play more supporters, like the ones like Jack search for two evolutions or something like that. Like these more mediocre supporters, I think are gonna be really important. So that you have more consistency. And then once you get like a big stage two EX set up, something like Charizard EX, Dragapult EX, or like some there's a bunch of them like the strong put cards in the game. The basics are fine, but they're generally a bunch of like a bit of energy, and then they're hard to get like powered up, and they're going to get knocked out faster than the two Frizers, and then I think that'll leave you obviously getting knocked out faster can just mean you lose because your opponent takes their prices. But on top of that, it means that you have less time to like set up Pokemon, which I think will be a bit of an issue. We'll see. I don't know exactly how this is going to go. I think it actually I don't know how different it will be than standard. It might be like super different, or it might feel like a weird janky standard.
Right. Is it gonna? Yeah. I mean, right. So there's some standard decks that are closer to this. It may make single prize decks even less viable, which is never a good thing to me. But they take more setting up, right? And you got to consistent. If you're getting one shot, you've got to set up again the next turn. So having Pokemon that tank some probably becomes a very good thing for this. Um, and I had something else to say, which one of the decks. What? So what about a deck like Wallstall? Right, that's going to be a good deck. I think it's a lot of one ofs, right?
I think it's like two ofs more so, but you can probably get away with one ofs. Um, like with my Lodic EX and like for Giraffe EX and Mimikyu and of course my Sugar Punny. You'll just toss it on all the walls, right? Oh, this one plays Crustle. I hope I can. Okay, so this one, the Crustle, it's not out. Oh yeah, like something like Badoo, probably good. Oh, I forgot people are like tossing Paldean and Tauros into random stuff. So yeah, like my Lodic EX is pretty good. For Giraffe EX, unfortunately, you are losing the Feebas with Ascension, but we will have that before rotations. That's really good. Then oh, Iron Thorns EX kind of in that category.
Yeah.
Um, and some like potential trapping Pokemon as well. Like there's Numeractus, which is kind of like Mawile or Snorlax. So yeah, I'd say like that could be good. Obviously, just keeping it pretty simple, that could be good. I don't know. I think there'll be different options. I'm definitely gonna like dive more into it. I've not really thought about it too much so far. I'm gonna hop into that and like look at like start messing with some decks. But yeah, I think that could be good. But if people are just playing random stuff, then walls aren't gonna really beat that, right? Because they'll just have answers, and your wall might not be good enough. But Milotic EX and for Draft EX are okay attackers as well.
Yeah, so I mean, you're going to have a deck, and it does play like Tatsugiri, which is good too. I didn't think of that. Right, that's
Oh
a
yeah.
good one to get in play. And then, like, I was thinking also, I don't want to put Artisan in the deck unless it's really good for me, right? Because it's going to help my opponent too, right? And I don't want to do
Um.
like if I have a deck that's mostly EXs with some
Oh
single
yeah.
prize stuff, like I don't want to put it into play, right? Because I don't want to help my opponent more than me. But Tatsugiri, you get a rescue board on it. That's really good. I don't know if I can play the TM cards in this deck or not, right? Because they're good cards and they help you set up. But with only one Arvin and stuff, am I going to get? And there's not a lot of tool search cards, right? So
Yeah,
I'm
I'd include them. You could play like Town Store as well, and you could play Secret Box. But no, I think the thing I like about them is, I mean, they're just like decent cards if you draw into. Like TM Evolution is kind of like an Ultra Ball or like like some Ball Search type card. Um, TM Turbo Energize is kind of like drawing into some extra energies. And it's just an initial form of energy acceleration. So they're not cards that are like, oh, I always want to do. I mean, you would like to do it turn one going second, but if you miss it, you can do it turn two, and I think that'll be more okay.
yeah, everyone's going to be a little less consistent. You will have a little more time to get things going. So yeah, hopefully it's fun, right? That's the big question. Hopefully it doesn't get around just a few decks for one thing, and hopefully it's not just two players just sitting there draw pass, right, for like 10 turns in a row for most of these games. That's probably the biggest risk with this type of format.
Yeah, and we'll see. Also, it's casual. I don't know how. Even honestly, on my experience with the ranked ladder, I guess people have been playing like decent decks, but like it hasn't been a great experience. I feel like people aren't, like, um, really like they're just trying like messing around, which is fine. I mean, that's fine, but they're just not. Um, I don't know, like I'm saying I hope there's like matchmaking, right? I want to play against someone who's playing a fun, a solid deck as well. So hopefully that's there. Hopefully it's not people who are just like new players messing around with like a bunch of like cards that are really bad. That would be like not fun for either of us because they just get like rolled over by something. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously it is casual. It's not supposed to be like super serious, but it shouldn't be like I don't know. Like I feel like the casual standard like experience is not to me great. Well, I don't really play it,
Yeah,
but when I played it, it hasn't been great.
I assume it'll be okay because people that are just really casual or just doing whatever aren't going to be going into the trainer trials, or at least once they do it once or twice, they're not going to keep going back, right? This is somebody that wants to be the alternate
Probably,
format.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking. And also it is like everyone is in here, not just people playing casual nor like standard. It's the people who are also
Right.
playing like who would be playing ranked standard would be in this as well. Um,
Mhm.
Anyways, I hope that
Yeah.
all works out. That is a minor concern for me, if they won't like have like a good enough matchmaking system. But,
Yeah, so it's just one card before I think we should talk about Twin Battle is Badu, everybody's favorite card. I was just looking at stuff on Badu, obviously, is certainly a consideration for these decks, and hope that could lead to long just attack with Badu and your opponent attacks with Badu and you just stare at each other. So
yeah,
that
but
which
it
is
does
what
only have 30 HP. Like I think it'll go down
yeah,
actually pretty quickly. Just like
that's
random
true.
things like random
That's
tree resolutions.
that's true. Badu could be bad because you're not able to consistently set up your board behind Badu, right? So maybe Badu's not that strong
Yeah, and
all in
people
all.
won't be like building their deck around like Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, Rare Candy, Buddy Buddy Poffin because they can't. There's only four of those. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think Badoo will be like fine. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, but that's
Oh, sorry. One other question: can you play a professor's research in these decks? Can you afford to discard your
oh yeah, I
hand?
think it's fine. I mean, well, because like a lot of the cards, you're not going to be playing most of your cards anyway. And then there's recovery. There's like a decent amount of recovery.
Well,
Um, or no, there's
what
like
do we
super
have?
on Nest Night Stretcher, which is like fine. I mean, like you'll be playing a
Right.
little less than standard, but it's not that much less. And you'll only need a few specific cards to recover to be able to recover. So I think it'll be completely fine.
Okay.
And it's really good, right? It's a really strong supporter, so I'd definitely play
Uh,
it.
It is you because you've got to set up right. So obviously, that's always key. Who can set up first, and it's a bigger deal for this than other form. All right. So the next format
Oh, sorry.
is
We could
twin.
see sorry.
So, no,
We
go
could
ahead.
see setup attackers as well, which we don't really see in standard. If the format really is as slow as like we're kind of thinking it might be, I don't know if it will be, but yeah, people don't really play those, but that could be cool. Like something like Cleffa, but there are lots of other ones as well.
Well, that's why with a firebox, I was you play Chi Yu then,
Oh,
right? Which
um,
you get that
which
set up. You
draws.
do two fire energies, 100 damage. Well, you discard the top two cards your opponent's deck as a mill, but I don't think I'm doing that. But then you choose three of each Pokemon and search your deck for basic fire energy, attach it. So something that sets you up does have more value, I think, in this format.
Mhm.
All right, so then Twin Battle, which is the next step, logical step from Singleton Showdown. So we have 2 weeks of Singleton Showdown. The next 2 weeks are Twin Battle. Same basic thing, except each card must appear twice, except for basic energy. So I assume the one thing that means is I assume no Apex cards because you can only have one. So I assume they're out of these decks, but otherwise pretty similar, but going to be more consistent, right, than the Singleton decks.
Yeah, I think this will be a lot like standard, like regular standard. So I'm not like as looking forward to this one. I think it'll be okay. Um, I'll certainly, I imagine, play it some, and it'll be fine. I don't expect anything amazing. Um, I think stage twos will be a little weaker because you can't have four rare candy. We still kind of want to be built around rare candy, so it'll be kind of awkward there. But it is what it is. I think it'll be fine. I don't have much to say about this one, to be honest.
Yeah, no, there's a lot less to say. It seems a less interesting than the Singleton showdown. In some ones, I think they maybe should have done this one first because this will be easier to start off for a new person, right? That hasn't done something like this because you can start with just a standard deck and shave it down to get there. A Singleton deck is a bigger difference, so I would have reversed them
Like
myself.
a new person, you meant like someone who like new to not new to the TCG and whole, right?
Right, but new to these alternate formats, right? For
Yeah,
because a lot of people don't do a lot of deck building on their own a lot, which is fine. But it's good that people are going to have to deck build more so. I think that's fun and in different in that people aren't used to alternate formats, right? So two of each is better for the most part than one of each. And there aren't many cards that if it's good of one, you're okay putting a second copy. And I'm not, there's not many cards that like you play, say, one Professor Turret scenario in a deck. If you need to, you put a second one if it's so important for you, right? You're not going to cry about that, I don't think.
yeah, and then if it's not that important, just cut it, right? So
Right.
yeah, nothing too crazy here. They're probably like you can't play United Wings. There are probably some other decks that like you can't really work with, but I don't know what those are. Um, yeah, if you have like one card that's one like individual card that you play just two copies instead of four, this would build around like double turbo energy, not gonna be in the format. But if it was, you couldn't build around that. But for the most part, everything is pretty similar. Yeah,
Yeah, like a card like say Goldengo EX in the you could put it into your Singleton deck, but it's a lot better in the twin battle deck, right?
hmm
You can get two of them in play. You're gonna see an extra card. You'll get set up and all. So it just it makes more normal things a lot more viable. Twin battles, and like you said, it's probably a little less interesting all in all. That's the downside to it. We'll see going forward what happens.
yeah. And then next we have Gym Leader Challenge, which we talked about. I'll make a few mentions of in terms of specific things. Um, Colorless is really good, and Psychic's good, I think. But like Colorless, I think is really strong, especially with the new Journey Together stuff. So I'll mention that. With the some of that like hop stuff is quite good. So yeah, nothing too crazy to say. I mean, we obviously talked about it. More so about how that is like a reflection of what's happening with the train trials and as a whole with like the weird expanded stuff. But,
Right. Yeah, we have the new cards, which are part of obviously for the Singleton and the twin. A card like Enzork, I guess, becomes an interesting one for decks. Do you want that as an engine piece? I'm
wait,
not certain.
in
We
the
didn't.
twin battle?
Yeah, or in the Singleton,
Oh,
let's
not
say.
yet, not GLC. Yeah.
No, not GLC. Sorry. It's a good engine. Discard one, draw two. You probably can't attack with it unless you're playing an ends deck. So right, it doesn't do anything on its own. I don't think. Right, it only copies attacks.
Yeah.
But it's a nice engine as an option. So those are things to think about as well. So you think Psychic and Colorless are good starting places for the GLC?
Yeah, I'd say like colorless. I mean, it's quite strong. Oh wait, no, you don't have. Oh yeah, no, yeah. This is not standard. It's the live expanded, presumably. So yeah, you have a barrel. Oh, you have Cinchino. You could play Pidgeotto. You could play Squirtle Rangru. Just flipping through the list. This play. You don't have Winona, which is good. Which is unfortunate, but whatever. And that's about it. Oh, you don't have special charge. I forgot about that one. That's a little annoying to lose, um, but I think it's fine. I mean, that's like that and Winona. Definitely annoying losses. Psychic, I just want to take a quick look at what the losses are. I think I looked at this list. I looked at it in a video, and it's like this one plays like two cards that aren't standard, or no, that aren't in the full format, or sorry, in the abbreviated format. So yeah, that's probably fine. There are different things to try out, but yeah, there is some stuff on Limitless as well. I also, as I mentioned, water losing artillery is a pretty big deal, I think. I don't really know what the next best thing is behind that. I mean, Inteleon's good, but yeah, artillery is a notable loss, and water's a pretty strong type. Though you do get some, I mean, you get the new Warlord, which is a very strong card for GLC.
Yeah, I haven't done GLC. You can find GLC lists out there. So that's a starting place. Like I called up this unlimited a colorless one. So you start you go through it, you put in the cards you can, you figure out what you need to do to replace the cards you can't play. And you're obviously like cards like Versus Seeker and stuff that you want to play and special charge for a lot of these decks. We don't have access to those cards. So
Mhm.
um but that's just work around it. So it's okay. But you do have a lot more compared to the Singleton, particularly, you have a lot more item cards, right? Good item cards in these decks that we don't have access to when it's restricted to standard only, right?
Mhm.
Evo Incense to get those evolutions. We have Ultra Ball plus Nest Ball, of course. So you have items to make things happen much better, right? You have Level Ball and such if that works through your deck. So you have a much better set of trainers with the GLC, and I think people especially after the Singleton format, people may really like the GLC just because this wider pool of cards just makes things a little deck building a lot better.
Yeah. And then we have the next one, the Silver Series. The Silver Series, I don't know why it's called that. Um, you don't either, right?
No, it's single series, but then it's called Cards Only from Scarlet and Violet series, which of course neither of those is silver. So but it's only from Scarlet and Violet, but which is the same as standard format. So I'm not sure why they didn't call it from standard format. That part's odd.
Yeah,
And I
technically,
my
there are cards that are that are printed that aren't like regular cards that you can't like play, like some weird promos maybe. I assume you can't play those here though. Um, and then also
oh, so you mean like for instance, if they did one, because I'm wondering if they'll have one for like Sword and Shield and such, right? As a format down the road. That's my guess why they did this, which would be fun, right? But then but it's like with Sword and Shield, which had the Celebration set, which had all those old cards that were reprinted, right? That you can't play those, right? So, but which is an extreme example, right, of cards that
yeah,
aren't
maybe
playable that
something
were
like
actually in a
that.
set.
I'm looking at limit. I don't think Limitless has all the promos, and so I guess the ones you can't play aren't here. I don't see any of those. But there are some weird cards. There's like there's like the I don't know. There are some weird things. There's some like Lugia EX or something. There's some like Lugia EX that you can't play, I think, or Ho-Oh EX. Anyways, so I don't think that's what it is though. The other thing that actually makes more sense, though it doesn't actually impact this, is like the Mega series is different than what the block will be at the end of this year. So if they have the Silver
Hmm.
series continued, then it'll not include the Megas, right?
Oh, that's true. That's an interesting right because the megas are not going to be. It's not aren't sets within Scarlet and Violet. It's a whole new series as far as I understand things. So anyway, it's Scarlet and Violet only, which is the same as standard at the time when it comes out. And then the trial rules are commons, uncommons, and rares only. And cards with a rule box are not allowed. I'm not sure if there's any rule boxes that are commons, uncommons, or rares though.
Yeah, no, I didn't see any. I'm not really sure. It seems like there's multiple weird like redundancies here with the Scotland Violet thing and the rule box thing and stuff like that. So it's kind of weird, but yeah, common, common, rare. So single prize, no ace pack, and
Right.
that's fine.
So A specs are not allowed. Is that correct then?
Oh, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, wait, they're like yeah, they're I don't know what are they? They're ultra rare.
That's my okay. They're ultra rare, so no A specs, and yeah. So and I guess anything that's like a promo only, you couldn't play. I suppose.
Yeah, I think so. I'm the one thing that could be annoying is like arts. Like if you only have a certain art of a card, oh, I closed. And that art is not the art, like is not the common, uncommon, or rare art, then you might not be able to play it, which is kind of annoying. But it
Hmm.
is fine. I mean, that doesn't matter that much.
Uh,
Um,
Well, okay, so that brings up an interesting question, or two interesting questions to me. First off, the issue you're talking about, it's an issue in live. Like when I want to play, like
uh,
for some of the challenges in Pocket. I'm sorry,
oh yeah,
which right in Pocket, which has certain challenges to only complete things with like one, two, or three diamond cards. But if you have an alternate art of that card, it doesn't count towards it. Is that going to be the case for this, or can you play an alternate art? Obviously, I would hope you could, but maybe they're not going to do that. And the other thing is, how are they going to do the deck? Hopefully, they're good with the deck checking, right? Because it's kind of like themed. I mean, hopefully they get it right because that's my big quest. That's one of the concerns, right? Are they going to be actually correct in not allowing all the cards? Probably there's going to be illegal cards that you're able to play with. Would be my guess, right? That they're going to have it to be for this. Yes, well, even for yeah. I think for some, I think it's going to become an issue. So, and how are they going to do deck checking within it and all that? So,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it shouldn't be that hard, but also,
this is a lot more than they've ever done, though. Is my
yeah.
point. Yes. So, and it changes around. So, I guess what's going to happen now is every 2 weeks we're gonna, there'll be an update every 2 weeks, which is kind of on their schedule anyway. And then they're going to introduce, I guess, the new format when that happens. So, hopefully, it's a little risky, right? It's a lot more updates, meaningful
Oh, wait, they're
updates.
updating every 2 weeks. Did they say that?
Well,
Or
they,
you
they
just...
don't know,
I
but I
assume they were
think
going to add them all when they update it Tuesday.
You think so? Maybe.
I don't know, but that is a lot of stuff. And I was like, wow, they're just like tossing in 5 new game modes all at once, coding wise. But yeah, maybe they
Yeah.
are going to update every 2 weeks, which is going to be kind of annoying, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I'm not sure. So anyway, so this format, right? Common, uncommon, rare. So is this going to be a good format? That's kind of my question, right? Like back in the day, before we were starting to talk before the podcast, so I'm like back in the day when Mad Party was a good deck, which is United Wings now. Um, like a strong single prize deck like that, is that going to be like the deck to play and beat everything? Is this going to be one where it's a narrow format, right? And
Yeah,
then I
but
think you were going to argue that Mad Party wasn't that good. I think.
yeah. I mean, it was good and standard. I guess it wasn't absolutely insane, but it was fine. The best single prize deck, we'll say. I mean, I don't remember if it was,
Mm-hmm.
but it was good. But against other single prize decks, it's not good because you don't need to hit like 200 damage, or certainly 300 damage. You don't need to hit. I mean, you never know, but presumably you don't. And then you only have like 40 or 60 HP. So if your opponent can play like a bunch of fan rotoms and just beat you, or like be
Yeah.
even with you. So, um, Mad Party is meant to deal with two prizers, but there are Pokemon like this that are like just really good. There are single prizes that are just way better. So we'll see how it ends up being. I get your point. I think Mad Party is a bad example. Um,
Okay.
and
All
I
right.
think
Then
it might be a little different. Wait, no, no,
Rapid
not.
Strike Malamar. No, again,
Yeah.
it's a single prize design for big things. What you need to do is you have to be consistent. You can't miss a turn, right?
Well, no, I think
Obviously,
the ones that you want are the single prizers that are spread single prizers that are just gonna destroy all your
okay.
opponent's Pokemon. Like Uxie, you attack with that a bunch of times. Uxie Frostlass, and you just like win.
Uh, yeah. Oh, that could be really annoying. Then you're getting me depressed when you say that because I don't want to just play Uxie Frostlass Mirrors all day.
Yeah, because the reason why, like something like Mad Party instead of Abstract Malamar, you could say Ancient Box. Ancient Box is a little like has higher HP, which is nice. So Ancient Box could be okay,
Right.
but these are designed to do big damage through the use of a lot of work to one target though. So you're gonna end up wasting all that damage.
Right.
But if you had a deck that's also intended to do big damage, except spread out across your opponent's Pokemon, which is generally a little weaker in standard, then it's going to be better in this format because you're not wasting the damage. You're getting that high upside of like lots of
Mm.
damage still. And your opponent's Pokemon will be able to be knocked out. There is bench protection. Oh no, there's not bench protection. I was going to say like it'll be coming later and it's there before, but at the time in which you're playing there is no bench protection. So
Well,
yeah.
when are we getting
Well,
the
there's
bench protection
Rabsca.
card?
It's in the next set, but this is before the set comes out, right? The set comes out with
This
after
is
the last
7
week.
weeks after. Oh, the next set comes after this. After this cycle ends.
Yeah, I think right. That's the idea.
Yeah, I think that's the intention. Yeah, you're right. So there's not you're gonna have Rabska and Uxie places damage counters if I recall right.
Yeah,
So
Rapsca does stop that, but
it does, but it's a stage. But the bench
oh,
protector when it comes out doesn't stop that one.
okay. Jirachi will stop Uxie from
Okay,
Paradox.
and that's not rotating. It was designed to stop the
Sableye,
Sableye.
yeah.
Sableye is rotating, but the counter to it's not rotating.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's yeah. So we may need to watch out for spread. That's a good point. Spread decks are fun. I like spread decks. Too much spread is not. if everybody's playing spread, that's not a fun thing. But makes sense what you're saying there. So, but the other thing is, besides spread, you need to be consistent. You need a deck where you can attack every turn reliably, right? Because if assuming it's a knock out the active thing, you want to set up first, but also you can't miss a turn, right? A lot of those games are as soon as one person misses their turn, you're ahead. Oh, also you lost the game. So consistency, easy setup is super important for these decks too.
Yeah. And so we'll see what things look like. There is actually Luxurious Cape, which adds more depth to the format. Kind of weird because it turns it into like two prizers. So now you have like two prizes in the format, which have a lot of HP, but um, theoretically healing those up could be really strong. I think there are different things. I think it'll be good, probably, but there could be some Pokemon that I'm just not thinking of. Um, that is going to be really good. Like there's a time there was like a format like this in the regular TCG, and like people played in PTGO some, like not that much, but I heard about it. And I think it was Dragapult from Rebel Clash, not the VMAX, but the single pricer that was like super
Mm.
good. Um, it just like beat everything or something. It's not a good card in standard. I mean, not the worst, but not strong. But yeah, like there could be some weird Pokemon that just like destroys everything that like we're not thinking of. Um, but yeah, if you think there's something like that, tell us down below in the comments because there could be. Um, and that would be like really not fun.
Right. Yeah. Right. So for a lot of times for tournaments, when the people do run kind of tournaments like this, and there often are certain cards that get banned, right? Which they could add that over time, right? And that if there need to be bans, are they going to hand? Who's going to? Is Pokemon going to handle it well? That's going to be its own question as well. And hopefully they do. And I'm excited. I can play Dojo every day for 2 weeks, right? With this
Yeah, against
Silver
all the
Series.
spread decks.
Exactly. But man, that 1 or 2 turns, I'm going to be doing big damage.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah,
Um,
well, I need my done my I mean the Rabska set up so to make that work. But yeah,
and then there's the last one, right? I don't think anything else about
yeah,
the Silver Series.
no,
The CU Common Uncommon Cup, and this is an expanded, and it is 1 week, which is kind of interesting. Just to like fit things. I think they should have made the first one 1 week actually. Um, well, actually, no, I think this should be the Twin Battles 1 week because I think it's gonna be least fun. But um, they probably
yeah,
should have done that first in like 1 week because you have 2 extra days.
right. Like I said, I think the Twin Battles is kind of a good introductory one. The CU Cup is actually a really fun one. Could be the most fun of them all. It's expanded format, which is good, and it's common and uncommons only, so it's a popper format. So that's I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but that'll be fun to do.
I think it'll be cool. I haven't played Pauper, I don't think, maybe just a little. I think I've heard mixed reviews. The decks looked okay, but they're kind of weird. I don't know if I can find this. Um,
Well, I
uh,
can just play Uxie, right? So away I go.
is that a
It's a common.
Oh, it's a common? Yeah, that's kind of good. Yeah, I think the card rarities have like gotten lower, it seems like. So they're like really good cards. With uncommon and common um rarities, actually want to do a quick check of like the cards that are common and uncommon that are good. Because what do you think? Have you thought about it yet or not?
No, I haven't. What's the one that accelerates the psychic energy that draws cards? The
Xadu.
yeah, is that a?
I don't
I mean, it's
think
not that
it's
good, but
yeah, it's a rare, it looks like.
it's a
Um
rare. Okay,
oh, you can play Badoo. So I know you're
okay.
hoping for that.
Can I play United Wings, or am I
I
going to miss
think
some?
so. I think you can play United Wings. Um, I'm just taking a look. These are the ones that are considered competitive on Limitless. I've been playing tournaments. And this expanded, but presumably the Sun and Moon on expanded. So we'll see what that ends up looking like. I'm pretty sure you can play United Wings. Um, you can play. I don't know. There are different Pokemon. There are some that are pretty cool. There are obviously lots of Pokemon you can't play. The format, as you said, is like cool. I don't think it's absolutely insane. You can play Lunto and Solrock if you want. Um,
Oh yeah.
you can play just flipping through. I'm sure you can play. You can play Mawile and Control. Um,
I can't. You can't play Black Snorlax, right? He's. I
No,
think
I
that's
don't
a
think
rare.
so. Then you can play. I don't know. I'm just. Oh, you can play Cast Form, your favorite. Is that what you're gonna play?
Oh, let's go.
I don't know how you get the stadiums and the discard as easily, but you can figure
I
that one
can't
out.
play Research, right?
Um,
Professor's Research isn't. Is that? I think that's a. Is that a rare?
I think I'm. Oh no, it's not always a rare. It's apparently a common in the new set. I think it varies.
All right, let's
Um,
go.
I
All
think
right,
it's
because
been
that's
like I think it's like common, uncommon, rare. Oh, um, I'm flipping through.
yeah.
And it looks like it's mostly rare. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's apparently common in Prismatic Evolution, so you can play it. Presumably, who knows? Maybe it's going to be banned because you don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, this seems fun. Overall, the formats are cool. Nothing absolutely groundbreaking in terms of the formats themselves, but this is really big for live, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, this is a big thing. Like I said, this is the biggest thing they've done. Oh, Curlia, we can play the Curlia
Yeah,
with refinement. So, but yeah, no, this is yeah, like I said at the beginning, the biggest news we have. Hopefully it goes smooth, relatively smoothly. Right, that's the first wish. And then hopefully, even if all these five formats aren't proved to be fun, if like at least three of them are good formats, then it's a place to grow and develop. So, and then obviously, are there going to be, to what extent are people going to be playing it? I assume it won't be too hard to find opponents, but people that like to play the TCG will be in it for sure, I think. Obviously, there's competitive players. They're not going to be doing it. People that are ranked only people, they might not do it. And there's a lot of casual people, like new from either like new from Pocket or whatever, so they might not do it. So I'm hoping there's enough people to make it all work well as well.
yeah, I think there will be a lot of interest in it. Because it's something new. It's like something very new and interesting, at least at the beginning. Though I think it will continue on throughout the whole time. But we'll see. But we hope you enjoyed, and tell us down below in the comments if you have thoughts on this and whether you're excited or not excited. But Uncommon Falls, I assume you're very excited.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I was gonna do a big shift in my content to being focused on the economy, but now this came out, I think this is what I'm gonna be my focus for what I'm gonna do, both for content and just for fun to play. Because I've got found the TCG pretty stale, honestly, and lied to be unenjoyable. So I'm super excited about this, and hopefully a lot of people are as well.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of the stale thing, we kind of did that. I kind of started the outro, but I'm really excited. I enjoy standard, but I agree it's getting kind of stale for me personally. I think I'm excited to cover this on the channel and play this, and then hopefully that'll get me more excited about standard as well. As like mixing things up is really important. But we hope you enjoyed. We're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.